guys, Michelle here with Be Empowered Yoga. This is your 30-day yoga series, day 6. Are you ready? Let's get started. Start it in a nice, easy sitting position. If you need to, you can bring those legs out if that's too much. Just take it nice and gentle here. We're going to just breathe for a few moments, allowing to build that energy for this lovely yoga flow. So placing those hands either on those knees and closing your eyes, or placing them at your heart center, taking a nice deep breath in and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Breathing here. Inhaling nice and deep and full. And exhaling completely, releasing all of that oxygen out of those lungs. Inhaling one more time and holding here. Holding. And exhaling and holding. Breathing here. All right, let's get started. Starting in our nice tabletop position here. We're just going to move through our cat and cow to open up our spines here. So arching that back as you move into that cat. Inhale as you drop that belly and then lift that clavicle and head. Exhale, arching into that cat back. Inhale, coming into that cow belly. Remembering to move through this, arching that back as you breathe through. Nice and gentle and easy as you're just getting started. Breathing here. Moving through this, opening up the spaces in that spine. Allowing that body to just wake up and clear those cobwebs out, nice and gently. Breathing one more time in this cow belly as you take a nice deep inhale. And then exhale, pushing back into that nice child's position. Dropping that nose, tip, and forehead to the mat. Allowing yourself to just be grounded. Taking a nice deep inhale to bring yourself into this space a little bit further. And then exhaling. Inhale, coming up into our tabletop position. Kicking that right leg back as we start to work those hips in. Bringing it forward and through underneath of you, kicking it back and then lifting it up and bringing it forward. A few more times through this to open up those hips, bringing it forward and then back and up and forward and through. One more time, lifting it up and forward and through. Dropping that leg down, lifting up that left leg. Bringing it forward and through, working through that hip, opening up, lifting up that leg, bringing it forward and through, underneath the view, kicking it back and up, breathing through this, nice and gentle and easy. Forward and through one more time as you lift that leg up and drop it down. Sitting back on those heels, we're just going to start to work those shoulders here, rolling them backwards, adding those elbows in, breathing. And starting to add those arms in as you work into those shoulders a little bit more. Breathing through this. Enjoying it. Making some space. And coming back to that center as we start to roll those shoulders forward. Keeping that tummy tucked in nice and strong as we engage that core here. And just allow the spine to move from side to side. You don't want to be all sloppy. Allow that spine to build some strength through this. Working those shoulders in a little bit more as we add those elbows in and then add those arms. Going through a nice little swim here. Breathing. Smiling. Enjoying the opening up of all those muscles. And bringing it back to your center. Nice job. Dropping that head down and rolling it over to that right side. Rolling it back down to center and over that left side. Nice and gently here as you roll through this one more time over to the right side. Breathing as you roll down forward and over to that left side. Lifting that head up to center, dropping it back behind you and rolling it over to that right. Rolling it back to center and over to that left, nice and easy and gentle. Back to center and over to the right. One more time over to that left side. Breathing here. Let's go ahead and come up on those toes. Give those feet a nice little stretch here as we roll those wrists out. Breathing and then rolling them in the opposite direction. Giving those feet and those wrists a nice little stretch at the same time. Go ahead and bend those fingertips back, so straighten that left arm out. Glide your hand along the other hand. And just gently bring those fingers down to the mat. Pointing them downward. Breathing here. And then releasing that. Bringing that right arm straight out in front of you. Droop those fingers down. Bring that left hand down to those right fingers as you straighten them out, pointing them at the mat as that right arm is still nice and straight and strong. Breathing here. So nice little wrist stretch here. Nice job. Go ahead and roll it out. Bring yourself back forward. Untuck those toes here. We're just going to lift that right leg up and work that hip again even more. So keeping that knee bent. We're just coming out to the side as we lift up and back down to the mat here. In this nice tabletop position, breathing, making sure everything is engaged here. So nice and tight. Breathing and enjoying this. Lifting and lowering that leg. Perhaps imagining that you are a puppy peeing on a fire hydrant. Moving through this. Just one more time, lifting that leg up and lowering it down, moving to that other side. Breathing through this as you lift and lower that leg, starting to lubricate both hip joints here. Perhaps even feeling those glutes start to activate. Breathing, remembering to have everything engaged here. Keeping those abdominals nice and strong. Inhaling and exhaling. Feeling those lungs with oxygen to feed those muscles. As you lift that leg one more time and hold it up here. And bring it back down. Nice job. Push back into your child's position. Take some nice deep breaths in and out. Fill those lungs and prepare to build some energy as we prepare ourselves to move through a lovely sun salutation. Inhale, coming up into that tabletop position, tucking those toes under, pushing that bottom up and back into our first downward dog. Lifting and lowering those heels as this is our first downward dog. Let's get it stretched out a little bit. So pushing back with those hands so that hand is nice and planted here. Those fingertips hard onto the mat. Pushing back into those shoulders. Lifting and lowering those heels. Looking back at those feet. Breathing here. As we stay in this position just a little bit longer. Take a nice deep inhale as you bring that gaze forward. Exhale, walking to the front of the mat. Lifting up to that nice half lift as you gaze forward. Exhale, coming on down. Inhale, bring everything all the way up to the sky. Bringing those hands down, heart center as you take some nice deep breaths in and out. Go ahead and close those eyes for just a moment. Allowing your body to resituate itself in this position. Opening those eyes, preparing for a sun salutation. Inhale, bring those arms all the way up to the sky. And a tiny little back bend. Exhale, coming down into a nice forward fold. Lifting up to that nice half lift, gaze forward. Exhale, plant those hands and step back into our plank position. Breathing in this plank position, remembering where that bottom should be, not popped up, not lowering down. Nice and gently in the center. Finding that Goldilocks spot. Breathing here. Engaging those core muscles. Dropping those knees down. Pushing back into your child's position. Take a nice deep breath in as you come forward, tucking those toes under, pushing up and back into your downward dog. Breathing in this downward dog. Keeping that gaze, looking back at those feet. Nice and gently here. Go ahead and shake your head no. I'm not going to let the monkey mind take charge today. Shaking your head yes. I can do everything anything that's thrown at me. Inhale, bring that gaze forward. Exhale, walk to the front of the mat. Lifting up to that nice half lift. Exhale, come down. Inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale, sitting into our chair position. Breathing in chair. You can close your eyes if you'd like to. We're just going to stay here one more moment. Breathing nice and full and deep. Preparing for another sun salutation. As you shoot your hands up, take a nice deep inhale, tiny little back bend. Exhale down into a forward fold. Lifting up and looking forward into that half lift. Plant those hands, step back, plank position. Breathing in this plank position. Finding the sweet spot. Enjoying this moment. Finding the happy. Are you ready yet? Dropping those knees down, pushing back into your child's position. Inhale, coming up to a tabletop. Tuck those toes under, pushing up and back into our downward dog. Lifting that right leg up to the sky. Breathing into this. Nice and strong. Engage that core. Tuck that belly button back into the spine. Now you're engaging. Nice job. And dropping that right leg down. Lifting that left leg up to the sky. Nice and straight here. If you want to, you can bend it a little bit. But engage that core. Your gaze can be back at those feet or the one that's on the ground. Breathing through this. Tucking that belly button into the spine. And dropping that foot down. Dropping those knees down. Opening them up mat width. Pushing back into your child's position. Breathing. Filling those lungs with oxygen and feeding those muscles. Coming up to that tabletop position again. Tucking those toes under, looking back at those feet. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, walking to the front. Lifting up to that nice half lift. Exhale, coming on down. Inhale, arms all the way up. Hands together, heart center. Breathing here. Inhale, shooting those hands up to the sky. Tiny little back bend as we begin to flow a little faster. Forward fold. Nice half lift. Plant those hands. Step back to plank position. Breathing in your plank position. Drop those knees down. Untuck those toes. Come down with chaturanga arms. Nicely tucked into the body. And then lifting up into our baby cobra. Tucking those toes under. Pushing up and back into your downward dog. Looking back at those feet. Lift that right leg straight up to that sky. Remember where your belly button should be. Engaged. Tucked in. Bring that right leg forward and through. Moving into that plank position. So that back is nice and straight. That leg is tucked into that belly button, which is tucked into that spine. Pushing it all the way back and up to the sky. Straighten both legs out. And bring that right leg down. Lifting that left leg up to the sky here. Breathing. Tucking that belly button into the spine. Coming back forward and through in this plank position. Tucking that knee in. Tucking that belly button in. And coming all the way back up. Dropping that foot down. Dropping those knees down. Opening up. Pushing back into this nice open child's position. In your child's position, I want you to fill this belly up. Nice and full. Breathing here. Taking some nice deep breaths. Got all this room underneath our belly to fill up those lungs. Inhale, come up to that nice tabletop position. Tuck those toes, push back, downward dog. Gaze forward. Exhale, walk to the front of the mat. Lifting up and looking forward. Coming down to our forward fold. Arms all the way up, hands together, heart center, sitting in our chair. Breathing in our chair. Enjoying this lovely chair. Breathing. Take a nice deep inhale as you shoot those hands up. Tiny little back bend. Exhale down into a forward fold. Lifting up to that half lift. Plant those hands. Step back into your plank position. leg up to the sky, engaging. Bringing that right leg forward and through, letting it hover underneath of you, and all the way back up. Dropping that foot down, left leg comes up. Bringing it forward and through, hovering underneath of you. Breathing through this. All the way back up. Dropping that foot down, gaze forward. Exhale, walk to the front of the mat. Inhale up to that half lift. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale as we sit into that chair. Let's close those eyes and breathe here. Taking your mind through that little flow. Breathing. Nice and deep and full. Inhale, coming up. Tiny little back bend. Exhale, coming down into that forward fold. Lifting up and looking forward. Plant those hands. Stepping back into your plank position. Breathing in this plank position. Nice and strong here. Dropping those knees down. Untuck those toes. Coming down with chaturanga arms. Keep that gaze forward. Inhale as you come up into a baby cobra. Exhale, tuck those toes, pushing up and back into your downward dog. Inhale, lift that right leg up. Remember to engage that belly button and tuck it into the spine. Bring that leg forward and through. This time, planting it in between both those hands. Breathing here. Feeling that nice stretch. Even coming up and bringing those arms all the way up. Remember, you don't have to come up if you don't want to. You can leave those hands nice and planted. This is your practice. You can also come up to the belly of that muscle in your leg. Never to that knee. Remember, we want to keep that joint nice and protected. Making sure that knee is directly over those toes, not over to either side. Breathe in here and bring those arms down if they aren't already. Bring that right foot back to meet the left, pushing back into our downward dog here. Breathing, lifting that left leg up to the sky, bringing it forward and through and planting it in between both those hands. Breathing here. Either holding with those hands down or bringing them on up. Enjoying this nice stretch that you're feeling, opening up those hips. Breathing nice and full as you fill those lungs and feed those muscles. Bring those hands down. Bring that foot back. Push back into that downward dog. Breathing in this downward dog as we take a nice little moment here. Nice, full, deep breaths. We're almost there. Inhale as you bring that gaze forward. Exhale, walk to the front of the mat. Lifting up and looking forward. Exhale, coming on down. Inhale, arms all the way up to the sky. Tiny little back bend. Exhale, sitting in your chair. Breathing in this chair. Inhale, shooting up. Exhale, coming on down. Lifting up to that half lift. Plant those hands, stepping back to plank position. Breathing in your plank. Dropping those knees down, untucking those toes, coming down, chaturanga arms. Lifting up and looking forward in our cobra, tucking those toes, pushing back into your downward dog. Right leg comes up, forward and through, planting it in between you. Coming on up, and then coming on back down. Bringing that foot back, pushing back into our downward dog. Left leg comes up, forward and through, lifting all the way up, and coming on back down. Breathing here, pushing back to plank, and then downward dog, dropping those knees down, and sitting back in your child's position. Breathing here. And coming up into a tabletop position, tuck those toes, pushing up and back. Lift that left leg up this time. Bringing it forward and through as you plant it in between you. This back right leg, pivot it and plant it so that it's nice and aligned with that short edge of your mat. Coming up here into our warrior one. Sitting down into this, so nice and deep into this Little feeling here, this nice lunge, opening up those hips, and coming back up, straighten out that front leg, and sitting down into warrior two. Bringing this arm back a little bit, bringing that gaze in front, over that front middle finger, holding in this warrior. You've got this. Breathing here, bringing that back arm forward, plant that hand, pivot and plant that back foot, rotating it towards the front mat edge. Bring that left foot back to meet the right. Breathing here, bringing that right foot forward this time. Pivoting that back left foot. Coming up into your warrior one. Breathing in your warrior. Sitting deeper into this. Remember, you can keep those hands down if you need to. And work your way in as you come up to the belly of that muscle. And then bring those arms up. Straightening that front leg out. Bring those arms nice and straight as you sit into this. So as we sit into this, we tend to lean forward. So pull this back arm back behind you a little bit more. Breathing. And scoot this back arm forward. Pivot that back foot towards the front mat edge. Bring those hands down. Drop that back knee down. Untuck those toes. Lifting back up. Bring that right foot back to meet the left. Pushing back into that downward dog. Dropping those knees down. Pushing back into your child's position. Breathing here. Coming up into our tabletop position. Tucking those toes, pushing back. Inhale, bring that gaze forward, walking to the front of the mat. Lifting up and looking forward. Coming back down, forward fold. Arms all the way up into your mountain position. Hands down, heart center. Breathing here. Let's flow through that one more time. Shoot those hands up, nice and tall. Exhale, come down. Lift up to our half lift. Plant those hands, step back to your plank position. Breathing. Dropping those knees down, come down to chaturanga arms. Inhale up to a cobra. Tuck those toes, pushing up and back. Downward dog. Left leg comes up to the sky. Bringing it forward and through, planting it in between those hands. Lifting up. Breathing here. Pivot that back leg. Bring those arms around and sit into this warrior two. Remember where those arms should be. So bring it back so you're nice and straight here. Sitting down into this warrior. Breathing. Perhaps even feeling those muscles quiver. You've got this. Don't let your monkey mind take over. Believe. All right. Swoop that arm forward. Bring those hands down. This back foot pivots towards the front of the mat. Bring that left foot back to meet that right. Push back, downward dog. Right leg comes all the way up to the sky. Bringing it forward and through. Planting it here in between those hands. Coming on up. Breathing here. Pivoting that back foot. Breathing. And coming into our warrior two. Remember where those arms should be? So nice and straight, let's sit into this a little bit deeper. Digging deep here. Breathing. You are stronger than what your mind is telling you right now. Those muscles may be quivering, but they have the strength to hold you up. Holding it here for 2 more breaths. Breathing. Full and deep. Inhale into those lungs. Bring that arm forward. Bring those hands down. Pivot that back foot so it's facing the front. Bring that front foot back to me. Push back into that downward dog. Drop those knees down. Open them up. Push back into this lovely child's position. Breathing here. Nice and deep and full. Feed those large muscles all the oxygen that they need. And coming up, sitting on those heels, bringing your hands to your heart center. Taking a nice deep breath in as you shoot those hands up. And exhale, bringing them down. Inhale, bringing them up above your head. Exhale, bring those hands down, heart center. Breathing in nice and deep and full. That completes day 6. You did awesome. That was a strong flow, and I'm so proud. Great job, and namaste. I'll see you tomorrow for day 7.